and then if more people are joining us later on, they can catch up anyway. Thank you everyone for joining our 12th Lingotalk. I am delighted to be hosting this conversation with a dear friend of mine, Antoine. Antoine, you'll have a bit of time in a few minutes to introduce yourself properly, but I would like to kick this off first by saying that Antoine is an extremely talented engineer who graduated from École Centrale Paris in France, as well as the University of Politécnica at University of São Paulo. And he's been working for a little bit less than a year as the Adjunct CEO of the DIA group based out of Madrid, Spain. Before we get cracking, I'm going to quickly introduce who we are, who Lingopass is, and what the Lingotalk is, all right? For those of you who aren't familiar with Lingopass, what we do is basically we offer an all-in-one corporate learning experience. The idea is for individuals and companies to find a language teaching experience that suits the needs of every student, that adapts to everyone's way of learning, and that does so in different languages, right? So we offer English classes, French classes, Spanish classes, as well as Portuguese classes for strangers looking to relocate to Brazil or to improve their Portuguese. So putting the students at the core of the learning experience has really been our motto from the get-go. And it's part of a broader mission to sort of make languages learning available to everyone, which is why we've also been piloting and launching even a project called Empowering Times, aiming at providing free language teaching to young people from underprivileged backgrounds all over Brazil. We're doing this in partnership with various NGOs, right? Such as Instituto Projeto or Gerard Falcões. And we're being sponsored by donations from people like you and me. So please feel free to have a look at our website and donate if you can. Every donation, every tuition that's given to the program helps one person study English for at least 3 months and up to a full year. And we're taking people from a complete beginner level to an intermediate level, that's B2. So really exciting program, and we're already seeing great results. Now, back to what a Lingotalk is. Those of you who are students with us know already a little bit about this, right? But you've got a variety of learning channels with us. One of them is the online learning platform, of course, where you can find videos, training exercises, and so on. Another one is social learning channel via Telegram. Another one is online coaching with language tutors. And our fourth channel is Lingotalks. And what we're trying to do here is not only to give you an opportunity to listen to and practice a foreign language, but also to meet people with outstanding, interesting, inspiring personal experiences, such as Antoine today, and learn from them and maybe put a bit in perspective what you're learning with how that might become useful later on in your life and in your career. Just to cover a couple of housekeeping rules before we get started, you guys are very welcome to raise your hand and ask questions if you need us to repeat anything, rephrase anything, if there's anything that might have been said too quickly and that did not make sense to you. Now, if you want to comment on something, or if you have more of an open-ended question, please keep them for the last part of our conversation, right? We'll be saving some time, about 15 to 20 minutes, for some questions and answer, right? Q&A. And you're welcome to ask these questions in any language you want. That might be French, English, Portuguese, or anything else really. Last but not least, we are recording this meeting. So if you do not wish to be visible on this recording, please mute your microphone and deactivate your camera. You're welcome to stay on the call, but that way you will not be visible. All right. Antoine, I'd like to kick this off by doing what a lot of people in France might know as a fast and curious. And what a fast and curious is basically a series of rapid fire questions, right? With 2 options for each question. The rule of the game is the following. You have to pick either option for each of these questions. You have to do it quick. I'm gonna set a 5 second, deadline for every question. And you've got 1 joker for all the questions, right? So there's one of them you can opt out of and not answer if you like to.
No problem. I know this game.
Excellent.
Thank you, Eloi, for the introduction.
All righty, let's get cracking then. First question, baguette ou pão de queijo?
Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo, excellent. 1 point to Brazil, yay. Cia or dia?
Dia, please. Por favor, Eloi.
Okay, great. São Paulo or Rio de Janeiro?
Ooh, bit difficult this one because I'm from Rio, but I would choose São Paulo.
All right, so you're more faithful to São Paulo, where you lived for a couple of years, than Rio, where you have your roots. Interesting. Next question: Criollo or YOLO?
What's the first option?
Criollo, the Brazilian rapper.
Brazilian rapper.
Man on the left-hand side.
Difficult. Difficult. I know none of them, but I would choose the second one, YOLO.
All right, you only live once. That sounds about right. Second to last question, sorry. Vila Madalena or Vida Madalena?
Vila Madalena. Okay. Sem dúvida.
Sem dúvida. Excellent. And this might be our last question. Actually, it isn't. It's our second to last question. Carnival or being evil?
Carnival. Includes the both options.
Okay, excellent. For those of you who might find it a bit quirky, carnival and evil are basically pronounced the same way, right? They're completely unrelated, but and they're actually spelled differently, but you actually say them the same way. Last question now. Being a little boy at heart or being a little boy at heart?
First option, little boy at heart.
Okay. Some part of me that's surprised. I know you're still a kid deep down there. Excellent. Antoine, thanks very much for playing ball with me.
No, thank you, Eloi.
The floor is now yours. So I'm going to ask you, I know it's difficult, right? Because you've already got quite a bit of experience, but I'm going to ask you to try to maybe give us a bit of, help us understand where you come from, what you've been doing up to this point, what you're doing at the moment, sort of summarize your life story in 5 minutes.
Of course. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm really delighted to participate to this talk. You already introduced me a bit, but I will continue on the way, Eloi. I graduated. I'm an engineer. I graduated from Centrale Paris and Politécnica da USP. I am Brazilian. I'm half Brazilian and half French. So the choice of Brazil was quite quick. After my studies, finally, I first searched a job in Paris as a strategic consultant. And while I was searching for this job in Paris, I had a great opportunity at DIA Group. And they called me to enter the team in Madrid. So now it's been 7-8 months. I'm working as the Adjunct of the CEO of DIA Group. It's really interesting. It was an interesting opportunity, really interesting job, and that's why I started at the beginning in the retail sector. That wasn't my first choice at the beginning, but now I'm full retail, and I really want to. I think I will continue and pursue my career as a retailer. Big dream, become a good retailer.
Excellent. Thanks for the introduction, Antoine. So a bit of a multicultural cursus. You live in Madrid, you're French and Brazilian.
Exactly.
I love the fact that you're acknowledging that what you're doing now was not your initial plan, but it's something you've now committed to and that you're actually enjoying doing.
Not at all the initial plan, but one must be flexible. So when I really had this opportunity, I saw this opportunity going back to Madrid, where I lived for more than 10 years, was not that much difficult. Of course, I also searched in Brazil, but Madrid was a good choice. Was definitely a good choice.
Yeah, I see. I think it's a great insight for everyone out there who is starting or even in the middle of their careers, right? To keep in mind that things do not always go to plan. Sometimes you have a certain project in mind, and then a different opportunity comes up that you had not considered, and it might still be worth going for, and it might still be rewarding. Really, really good piece of wisdom here.
Exactly.
Antoine, you're currently the right arm of the CEO of a major retail group, right? DIA is quite large. And this puts you in a pretty good position, I think, to understand what might have changed since the pandemic started, right?
Yes.
For instance, as a consumer, I'm under the impression that groceries have really become a critical piece of my day-to-day. Like, you know, people were fighting to put their hands on toilet paper supplies, and they were fighting to buy milk last year in Ireland. And I was wondering from your perspective now, what the pandemic has changed.
That's a really good question. First, I want to give you a first point that I started my job at DIA while the first wave of the pandemic had already gone. So I wasn't I wasn't present in the harsh moment of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic. But what I know and what I've seen from the stories that they're now in the store, I'm currently now working in a store almost as a cashier, they all said that it was a great challenge, as well as the top management said it, as well as all the employees working in the stores or in supply chain, because of course COVID had led to the closing of the Horeca channels, so restaurants, hotels, etc. And everybody started to buy at the stores, of course, but moreover buying at proximity stores. It wasn't allowed in some cities of the world, of Spain, of course, but also in other cities of the world, in France also, to not go further than 2 kilometers from your house, etc. So all the people started to buy near their home. And finally, who is present? Who's the first retailer in proximity in Spain? It's DIA. So it was a big challenge. The sales, everybody went crazy. It was a great operational challenge, as well as for supply chain, also people recruiting hiring new people. And for DIA, there's this first part, the big challenge as in terms of operations, but also DIA started a completely restructuring process 2 years ago. So the company had two fronts: the restructuring process and the COVID pandemic and COVID-19. So in complete transformational and digitalization and transformational phase, COVID arrived, and we had to deal with it. And finally, DIA had a strong response. Figures showed it. We had a good like-for-like in 2020, good results, and COVID helped a little bit DIA to I don't know how to say it in English, but sair um pouco da dificuldade.
Right. To get out of a pinch, maybe is how I would say it.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. I think it's a really telling example to how this kind of challenge, right? Like what obviously came up as a difficulty for everyone turned out to be an opportunity for Dia, for you guys in particular, because of that particular strength that you had, right? And the local sort of like around the corner retail sector.
Exactly. An opportunity, also a bit of danger when you have to face a huge queue of 100, 200 meters in front of the store. You all days you are out of stocks with your products, etc. It's a big challenge for also for the company, also suppliers. And finally, the brand image can be hurt in some way, I think. But
yeah, I see that happening indeed.
It was
so
fine.
When I look around me, right, again, from my perspective as a consumer, I think I'm seeing a couple of trends emerge, right? For instance, nearly everyone I know has gotten into do-it-yourself, right? Like building their own shelves, cooking their own food, and so on and so forth. People also seem to be more concerned nowadays about buying local produce as opposed to like produce that's imported from overseas. And obviously, the main thing, of course, is that people really
Yes.
value the cleanliness and the safety of their shopping experience. Are those just impressions? Right. What are the trends you are seeing from your point of view?
No, you're completely right. Actually, I think to see what trends or what are finally what is the purchasing the customer, what is the customer wants. When you see the good players in Brazil, also in Madrid, in Spain, you just see that same characteristics are important for the customers, which is quality. A customer really now is searching for quality of products, bio, eco-friendly, I would say, a clean store, of course, a good value for money. That's actually really important. Many Dia, for example, many Dia's customer goes to Dia because for their promotions, for the price. Dia has a good value for money, for your money. But I think the trends will still be good consumption in terms of bio-organic products. Also still quality and good value for money. But there's another thing, and I think COVID had led a little bit to that. As I said before, proximity had become quite important. Proximity in two ways. First of all, there's a demand of people, a demand in the cities of people just want to buy fresh products, day-to-day products, yogurt, fruit and vegetables, perecíveis in Brazilian. And this is the product you buy all day. You don't buy your fruits and vegetables at the beginning of the week to eat it at the end of your weeks. So there is a demand of proximity stores, and also, in my point of view, a transfer from the offline to the online, which is basically e-commerce, express delivery, and schedule delivery. And I think this is the last trend we can see within the last year, and I think that will continue for the next 5-10 years.
Fabulous. So two main trends: going local, going for the shop around the corner to buy your perishables, and an increasingly, what I would call an increasingly digital consumer experience.
Exactly.
There's been a lot of talks about the new players, right? So there's what I think is called dark stores, right? Micro markets and startups trying to sort of renew the retail shopping experience.
That's a big threat.
Do you see these new players in the retail space as competitors, as potential opportunities, as partners?
That's a really good question. For example, many companies like Carrefour, Dia, Atacadão, etc., has partnership with some big players like Amazon, Rappi, Glovo in Spain, and they are, for the moment, of course, they are a partnership, but it's also a threat, I think, for the classic players like the old companies like Carrefour and Dia, because they have so much power, they have money, investors. They could also do the production, the commercialization. For the moment they do the delivery, but what we never know. And you talk about dark stores. Now more and more new startups are growing, I think, in Europe basically, but also maybe also the Brazilian market. I'm not aware of what kind of competitors, but yes, I've heard that in France, for example, many startups are growing as dark stores, just focusing on delivery, express delivery.
It might actually be helpful to maybe remind everyone what a dark store is. Maybe you could give a bit of a definition, right?
Yes, basically a dark store can be associated like a normal store, but not open to the public. Just you have employees, you have your SKUs, but it's also just for e-commerce and express delivery. So you have employees that prepare your order, and then the order goes with a global chauffeur or a Rappi and arrives to your home. So you can order your purchase, your normal weekly purchase, ordering a Glovo at a dark store.
Really interesting, and so it is one of the leading trends at the moment, right? Especially with
Yes.
people being less and less keen to leave their place, more and more sort of aware of their personal safety.
Actually, dark store is a normal store, so you can have a physical store providing the same service as a dark store. But dark store is interesting when finally your employees are just occupied by doing the orders than doing the normal job of attending the clients, the customer who is going to your physical store, etc. So it's not a virtual store; it's a physical asset, but with another focus.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that overall, this kind of more digital experience is going to be is likely anyway to be dominant in the coming years. Not just in terms of, for instance, dark stores, but also in terms of stores where consumers might scan articles for themselves, or in which they do not have to check out anymore. Also in terms of business intelligence, of course, right? Because you have this wealth of data that is generated by those retail chains, and that they're now looking to make the most of for marketing purposes. So I think it's definitely an exciting time for the retail business. I agree with you.
Yes, and finally, if you see a company like a big retail company, he has the great opportunity to be a data-driven company, and collect so much. You can collect so much data with your different assets, different methods. You collect your data, just organize them, and as you said, you can have great insights for marketing campaigns, for publicity, etc. So this is the great opportunity the players in the sector have.
Excellent. Antoine, one thing that kind of caught my attention is that Dia, as you mentioned earlier, has been undergoing some restructuring, right? So it's been trying to cut its costs to turn a profit. And even though the results have been increasing, as you said, it's still been like the company just is coming out now of a time in which it had to kind of reinvent itself. What have you learned, if you've learned anything, that is, working through this situation?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I've learned many things. First of all, I think in terms of content, I learned many things about IT, about what's a governance model, about the operation, the retail sector, the different competitors. So this is in terms of contents. Of course, you learn a lot, but everybody learns a lot in each job. And but the main learnings I've had in contact with the person I work with is more in terms of methodology. They're all really structured person, and I really tend to be as structured as them. So I think the first key learning was be really structured. They are really strong people in terms of skills and so also soft skills, but they all have this in common. They're structured. So I think that was my first learning, working with people. The second one I think would be that's a difficult question. Be flexible. Be flexible and don't be afraid also, because finally a startup is not that far away as a big company, and entrepreneurship, people that actually build a company are not afraid of making decisions, of going ahead, making errors. It's not a big problem. So with this restructuration process, I really saw that decisions had to be done quickly, and actions directly have to follow. That's the second learning I've had during those last 6 months, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool takeaway as well. And I know it's not specific to Dia. I have a friend who works at Amazon, and she always says that one of Amazon's core values is bias towards action. As in, when you're in doubt and you're not too sure what to do, take action anyway.
Yes.
Take a risk, and you might not have full visibility on the consequences, but sometimes you've just got to accept that risk and go ahead.
Yeah, and just making errors is acceptable, but not making errors but not achieving results is not affordable. So just go. That's all I would say. And there's another thing, important thing. Keep in mind the big picture, because when you have to touch many things, the IT organism, the IT structure, the operations, controlling, and then redefining all the process of the company, having someone that really keeps in mind this big picture, what drives the company, what are the priorities for this year, what do we want, what is the objective, is really important. It's really important, and it can be as in term at the level of a meeting. What's the objective of the meeting? What's the decision at the end, etc. As at the level of the company, of course, during the year, what are the priorities, and this was another good learning.
So always have that strategic perspective in mind, exactly. Even if you have to get into the more finer details. Really
what connects the different departments, and what actually connects the different departments are the priorities.
Really good. Well, another thing that caught my eye, sorry, and I'm surely not the only one who's noticed this, is that you're very young, right? I know you're, I think, 26, and this is,
yes,
it's pretty uncommon for someone your age to be working with such senior staff. We're talking about the CEO of a large retail group. We're talking about C-suite officers, across the board. Obviously, you come from a renowned engineering school and so on, but do you have any tips to share with people entering their career to sort of, advance their career? What are the things you look out for? What are the attitudes and the qualities that you think are important?
I think, well, first of all, I've been lucky, of course. As we said before, this wasn't the plan. This wasn't my plan. You know, I wanted to work as a consultant, etc. But when a good opportunity arrives, so you can't just continue. You have to be open to other plans. You know, I think the big tips, the big tip I will say is, in my opinion, of course, everybody can have different opinions, but just try to go out of your comfort zone. I don't know if I explain it. It explains it well in English, but go out from your country, learn languages. Of course, I'm lucky. I lived in Brazil, in Spain, in France, so I have those languages for me. But if you have the opportunity, you're studying in a university that gives you the chance to go abroad, just take it, because you will know many people, different people. You will learn new languages. And for example, this opportunity I had at DIA, I would not get that opportunity without the Spanish language and without the Brazilian language. That's an example, but that's also the first tip. The first tip I would say. You know, of course, after this other one, I think an important thing is, and I always have been driven by this. When I was looking for an internship in Brazil, I really wanted to begin in finance, so I did an internship at BNP Paribas as an M&A trainee, and I wanted to work in finance, but in a financial institution, in the core business of the company I'm going to work with. So finance can be in bank, data, whatever, consulting firm specialized in data. That's why I choose the operations now in DIA, because I think finally operations, supply chain, warehouse management are one of the key core businesses of a retail company. And that's my tip. So try to go to core businesses, because it's where of the company you're going to work with, because it's where you're going to learn more, and work with the more talented people. And that's my second tip.
Fabulous. I love this idea. I like the idea of being at the center of the company. Don't be somewhere on the outskirts, right? Don't be in just a support role, but go for the chunk of the activity where the value is being generated.
Exactly. ArcelorMittal, you're going to work. Well, of course, many exceptions, but ArcelorMittal, I would like to work in the operations. L'Oréal is different. L'Oréal is marketing. BNP, work in finance at the bank. Itaú, Bradesco.
Excellent. I have one last question, and then we're going to have a bit more of an interactive section, right, in which we'll take questions from people attending. You just mentioned actually that you're currently interested and working on supply chain and operations within DIA. And earlier you mentioned that you were learning at a store now. So can you explain a bit to us what's changed in your situation, what kind of journey you're going through, and maybe what has led you to this decision?
Well, actually, first of all, the Adjunct it's not a job you do for many years, I think. And what's interesting is that you do the follow-up of the different projects for your boss, and you learn a lot about the company, about the different businesses of the company, the different departments. But then I started to think I really want to deliver, have my responsibilities, my projects, deliver value. And that's when I was starting to think about that. They asked me, after this, you have to think about where you want to go. Is it in finance, controlling? Is it in human resources, in the operations? sales, etc., commercial. And then I started to think. And of course, as an industrial engineer, I have this operational synergy. I don't know how to call it this in English, but appétence in French. I have this
interest or this appetite, maybe.
Exactly, this appetite for the operations. So I choose this, and then they design me type of learning journey. So I'm doing 2 months in the operations. So 1 month at the stores. I'm doing different stores with the personal, working, of course, like everybody in the stores. Then I'm going to go to warehouses, and after this journey, we will see what's best suited for me. Is it in the stores? What type of, where I can add also the more value for the company. And but this is there's a placeholder on it. I don't know yet.
Fabulous. Yeah, I think it's really an amazing opportunity. And if everyone on this call ever had this kind of avenue, right, I really encourage you to sort of seize the chances that present themselves to work with obviously the higher ranking officers, right? The CEO, the senior executives, and so on, but also to keep your feet on the ground and sort of sometimes go out there and work with, in your case, like the store staff, you know,
of course,
people working at the cash desk and so on.
Of course, and we can't forget that for each retail company, and for many companies, money, not money, but all starts at the store and all ends at the store. This is where the company earn its money and earn its results. Where you see the customer, where you confront the customer directly, you know. And I think for each person working in a company, it's important to know a little bit of that.
Excellent. So in retail, everything begins in store and everything ends in store.
Yes, completely.
Antoine, thank you so much for taking the time to answer the questions.
Thank you, Eloi.
I'm going to hand over the mic to Lilian. For those of you who don't know Lilian is our intern. He's also French, but he obviously speaks English. And he's been working with us for about 2 months now, a little bit over 2 months, among other things, as a program manager on Lingotalks. And he's going to be moderating questions from the audience.
Yes. So yeah, let's start. I will share my screen. So anyone can see my screen, is it okay?
Yep, all good.
Yep. Okay, good. So yeah, as Eloi said, let's start with the more interactive part. But first of all, thank you, Antoine, for this interview. So first question, what is the strategy to compete with online store? And is it a risk for GIA in short and middle term?
By online store, do you mean the dark stores?
I think the online platform to buy food. Yeah, the dark store, I think also, but this kind of platform online.
That like Amazon, for example.
Or
Rappi in Brazil.
Question. Yeah,
that's a really good question. And first of all, I think if I had the answer to that question, I would have been CEO already. But I think first of all, we have each company have opportunities and there's threat. The threat is that those are threatening companies, big companies like Amazon, but also a company like Carrefour or DR. They already have the assets. For example, DR has more than 5,000 stores in the world. We have already that supply chain, that savoir-faire in French, which is actually an asset, and it's our core business to deliver food, etc. Now we have to learn a new business, which is online express delivery and e-commerce. This is a big asset, and I think the strategy will be expansion, I think. Or I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to that question. What's the strategy against those online stores? But I think just do your job, do the job better than them, deliver quickly, and the proximity channel we have is a great asset for that. Because for example, in Spain, everyone is at like 10 minutes from a DR. And finally, if you see Amazon can't deliver to your home, to your place within 50 minutes, 1 hour. It's impossible for them. But for companies like Carrefour, with the Carrefour markets, it's possible. There are a risk, but there's also we have also assets.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I would like to complete this question, like in general for you, technology in this sector is more a risk or a solution?
The technology
for the consumer, for the consumer.
Technology is a thing you can take a great advantage with. Just talking about the customer experience. Going to a physical store with the digitalization, you can provide that a better experience for the customer.
Okay.
Also, it's a great way to earn more insights about the customer. Every big retail companies today, BNP, etc., they are all in that, implementing some data platforms, knowing better the customer. Then you receive on your smartphone, you receive some publicities. So that's interesting. That's really interesting because you know better the customer, and you can segment also your customer better.
Yeah.
So no, this is an opportunity.
Okay.
Definitely not a threat.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. So let's continue. For the second question, how to build a strong retail brand image, in your opinion?
How to build a strong retail brand image? That's difficult. I think that's difficult. Let's see Mercadona in Spain. Mercadona in Spain is one of the greatest competitors of Dia, for example, and they have a really great image. And when I go to Mercadona, basically it's what we said before. They have a good value for money, so they provide to the customer a good product, usually from local suppliers. So the product has a great quality, a good price. Also, they have perfect stores, big stores, but all super clean. The experience there is good. You have a good experience going there. They have many employees working in the store. You're not alone in the store. So I think all comes from that. You build a strong image, focusing on the client and where the client is. So first of all, the physical stores, but also this after. I think of course, you have all on the online channels. You have an internet site. You provide other services than a normal physical store. You have a presence in different channels, so physical and online. I think that that's also a part of the job.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Now a question in Portuguese.
Quais
Vamos lá.
principais diferenças do varejo na Espanha, França e no Brasil?
Exatamente.
Uf,
Sua opinião.
hum,
Com a sua experiência.
com a minha experiência, that's a good question. I don't have the answer because finally France and Spain, there's a lot of similarities. Also, you have the same players, Lidl, Carrefour in each countries. Finally, in both countries, Spain and in France, but also in Brazil. What I would say, I think proximity in Brazil is not the proximity channel of stores is not that much developed as in France or Brazil, France or Spain, sorry. So Brazil, in my opinion, you have more great stores, big stores, and less small supermarkets, small and good supermarkets. You directly goes to the hypermarket or big market size.
Yeah. And I would like
I don't really know the difference.
And I don't know,
from my opinion.
I don't know if
yes.
Maybe in terms of customer profile, do you think that there is a difference between the Brazil, France, and Spain?
Yes, I think in terms of that's a good point, Lilian. I think Brazil is more price driven than in France and Spain. You know,
okay.
DIA in Brazil is quite developed, and finally our stores that works more are not in Brazil, not in Brazil, but in porous countries, porous zones, you know. So I think, sorry.
No problem.
So I think in Brazil the people are more driven by the price.
The price, yeah.
The value you get from your money, you know.
Okay.
Than in France or Spain, people I think looks more quality, good products. Focus more on the quality.
Okay, thank you so much for this answer. So let's try to finish with maybe another question. What could be, can I say?
I like the new of the Hirota strategy.
This one. So let's go.
This is really interesting because I think it gives us a great example of how the COVID impacted finally the companies, and the companies saw the customers. I know Hirota from São Paulo. They have big stores. Actually, it's a really good supermarket. But seeing them opening micro convenience stores in shipping containers, it's interesting. I think well, let's see if it works or not, because I think it's pretty. They are doing it just right now. It's really recent.
Okay, yeah. So let's see in the future.
What do you think about that strategy?
Me?
Yes.
I was not aware about this kind of opening, so I'm learning right now. So I don't know, but yeah, let's see on the future what
finally it seems like they think that now we're going to have a more local consumption of this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's also building. Okay, so I think we have like almost 10 minutes to continue and make a conclusion. So maybe what challenges are you looking for in this kind of position right now? As it was said, you are very young. So what
challenges?
Yes.
This is a good question because you don't know the challenges you're going to face before knowing them, before facing them actually. But I wasn't looking for, first of all, I wasn't looking for this position. I wanted to be a consultant. But when I saw and I get this opportunity, I thought that one of the main challenges would be adapt myself to the different profiles I'm going to work with. Because I had the chance with this position to work with Brazilian people, Spanish people, Argentinians, Portuguese. You interact with people from many different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a challenge. And now that I'm doing this new journey in the stores, this is another challenge. So now I'm working with people with a completely different background.
Yeah.
They're from Venezuela. They came in Spain, and now they are working at DIA. This is a good challenge, and it's a really good one. And the other one, of course, working a lot. With our studies, I think we are prepared to this, but it's also a great challenge. But it's also fine. Comparing with our studies, it's fine.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you. So let's finish with this question. Maybe I don't know if you're able to answer with this, but what will the key challenges for human resources in the retail sector in the post-pandemic context?
This is a good question because the human resources, the HR department in the retail sector is one of the main department, the most important one. Everything begins with people. First challenge, I think, would be to coordinate that mass. The first employer in the world is Walmart. They employ more than 2 million people. This is huge. So the main challenge is, how do you coordinate all this? How do you control it? How do you know who you're going to hire, etc.? So I think it's building. The first challenge is building a real system when you have the feedback from the basis of the pyramid, for example, the stores, the warehouses, etc. And to I don't know how to say it in English. Remonter. How can we translate remonter?
I'd say to feed that back, maybe.
Yeah, to feed that back up at the top for the management team. Because when you're working on the top of the pyramid, it's impossible to know what your employees are thinking about the company, thinking about the structure. So building a system is a bit of a challenge for that. And also for example, during the COVID, a big challenge was protecting your employees. Protecting your employees was a big challenge. So this one is more in the midterm. The other one long term, and this one midterm.
Okay, yes, I'm agree with you. And that's all the challenge for the retail sector, but for the big company in general, I think.
No, it's and all big companies and finally all companies. How do you retain talents?
Yes.
You train a person. How do you keep this person in your company? This is a huge challenge. It's not always increasing the salary. No, it's building building confidence and trust in the management team, in all the team, and in the different players of the company. This is huge.
Yes. So I think that's all for the question. Maybe we have more couple minutes if anyone in the room want to speak. You are free to speak, so no worries. And I come back here.
Yeah, Antoine, I have one question out of curiosity. Is the layout of the stores the same in all the countries? Because the part where you pay the products, you have the credit card PIN pad in the end of the counter, and that's different of all the stores I've seen. So is this the model of Dia everywhere, or is just in Brazil?
So you're just to understand what your question, you're saying that in Brazil, at
you
the end
have
of
the
the
line, yeah, you have the
Yes.
line, and you have the cashier, and then
Yes.
in the end you have the PIN pad for the credit card. It's not with like the other stores with the person that the attendant.
It's at the end of the store, you mean?
Yeah, at the end of the counter. Yeah,
Of the counter.
Yeah.
That's the same in it's the same in Spain. It's the same in Spain, so I don't know, I can assume that that's it's the same for Dia, but I think there's all the company are pretty much the same, no?
Yeah, I was thinking like this also in France.
Because it makes sense. You have already passed the part where you put your groceries in the counter, and then in the end you pay. In the other stores you have to go back and put your password or your credit card instead of the normal flow that you put your groceries on the counter and then you get the bags and then you pay. So this flow feels much more natural for me than the regular stores here in Brazil. Just a curiosity.
Okay, I try to remember how it was at Hirota, but okay, no, but finally, in Europe, in Spain, they are the same model of processing.
Okay.
Good. Perfect.
Folks, I think we're at time.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank again, first off, everybody who's attended this call, right? Really appreciate the questions and the engagement. But most of all, I'd like to thank you, Antoine, for making this super interesting, lively, being honest and humble about what you feel and what you think. It's been really, really, really an awesome pleasure to have you around.
No, Eloi, thank you for inviting me.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, that's it. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
See you.
Parou a gravação? Ok, awesome. Ça s'est bien passé, non?
Je crois que tu es encore en train de graver là.
Eita, deixa eu ver.
Ou alors c'est Alexandrine qui est partie et qui doit
Oui.
désactiver.
Je lui ai demandé de désactiver. C'est pas grave, on coupera au pire.
Oui, on coupera au montage.
J'essaie de désactiver, mais je ne peux pas, je pense. Record.
Parce que c'est elle qui l'a initié, donc c'est elle qui doit l'arrêter.
Tu peux y aller si tu veux. Moi, je vais rester là parce que j'ai peur que si on ferme le call,
ouais,
elle puisse pas récupérer le truc.
Ça marche. Ok, non, ça s'est bien passé, c'était très bien. On n'a pas eu beaucoup de monde, mais bon, je pense que ça s'est bien passé. On a eu quelques questions intéressantes, le talk était intéressant quand même. ça nous fait du contenu, quoi, quand même. Donc, ça
En
va.
même temps, on a divulgué très tard, en partie parce qu'on a eu ce problème avec la photo, en partie parce qu'on se fait quand même planter par Horizon il y a une semaine. Bon, finalement.
Donc, ouais, ouais. Là, du coup, je suis en train de préparer les tops pour le mois de juillet. J'ai déjà eu quelques réponses, donc je vous tiens au courant sur ça par WhatsApp.
Cool.
Voilà, moi, je vais te laisser, Éloi. Bonne
Ça
fin de
roule.
journée à toi et on se
C'est
tient au
du
courant.
dur.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, nice.